Hi everyone, it's Kylie from STAMPIN's Workshop. I had so much fun crafting with you the other week that I thought that I would do another one. And with Celebration rapidly coming to a close, I thought I would share with you over the next couple of weeks some of my favourite things in the Celebration catalogue. I've been showing you a lot of the penguins, but now we're going to see some of the other things that are really great. Now, hopefully you can see, I've been playing around with the light, but I don't know, I just played around and it was perfect, but now looking at my screen I'm not sure that it is. Anyway, we'll give it a go. So if you don't know about Celebration, until the 30th of September, every order over $90 and multiples of 90, you get to choose something from the Celebration catalogue. And there's specialty papers. I've been using this one a lot. There's also some stamp sets, some more paper, and what's great is, apart from these ones, they all coordinate with things that are already in the range, and these are so cute. I really want to case basically everything on this page, but today I thought we would actually create this one. The Textures and Frames is a photopolymer stamp set, and it could be yours free with a $90 order. And it's a photopolymer, as I said. It's got some really cool shapes, and I've seen people make the most amazing things. But I thought we'd start with this one because it's really simple, it's really effective, and it's a masculine card, and we all need masculine cards. So what you'll need to create with this is not only the Textures and Frames, but you also need the Handsomely Suited stamp set, Handsomely Suited stamp set, and the suit and tie. And this one is $37 and this is $56, so combined they actually equal over $90, so you could actually then choose this one for free. Something to keep in mind, because don't we all like a free thing? Okay, to start with, we need to get our card base, and we're using Pool Party. I've already prepared some of these earlier, so I don't keep you so long, except I forgot to prepare the next step. So when I'm making a card base, I tend to sort of make them two at the same time. So I tend to do a lot of top fold cards. So I score in half and half the other way, and then I have two card bases automatically. And if I only need one, I put one into my stash for later on, and then I can start using this. For today's project, I've already made as I said. So what we're going to do now, I'll just cut this in half. This goes into my pile to use another day. And so this panel here is now the exact size of my card front, but I don't want it to be that big. I'm going to take about 1.5 centimeters off, and we'll see what that looks like. Now you could do this step second, and sometimes I prefer to work on a big panel and then work down. It helps me sort of work out if I have cut stamped a little bit dodgy or not straight or anything like that, but today I decided just to jump right in. And we're going to stamp tone on tone, and we're going to use the cute stripes from this Textures and Frames. And we're stamping Pool Party. And hi Melissa, how you going? And you can stamp this as however you like. It can be perfectly straight or all over over the place. But make sure you stamp off the edge as well, just gives it a bit more of a natural look. And that's actually why I tend often to sort of stamp on the big panel first and then come in and cut it down. Just helps it look a little bit more real. You can see I'm just sort of adding it on the edge there as well. Oh, you really want this set. I've been seeing lots of people do such amazing things. I'm just casing the catalogue today because I'm just crushing on half the samples in the catalogue. But as you can see, you could really use lots of different colours. Looks like I'm going to have to ink my. This is one of my most favourite colours in the range. So you can see now we've done all the background. So we'll put that aside. And then we go to the next step, which is making the bow ties. Now I've just cut little panels, and we'll do that one first. So once again, we're using the Handsomely Suited, and we're going to use this bow tie here. But obviously you can use whichever one you like. Now you'll find, because I'm starting with the lightest colour first, I'm actually going to be lazy, and I'm not actually going to clean my stamp in between. The next one is just Jade. I'm not going to bother to clean it because it's so light. No, you can't tell. I'm not contaminating it at all. And then the last one is Night of Navy. So once we've done that, we need the coordinating die set, suit and tie. And we're going to die cut out all of these shapes. Now, I might have to do a bit of this off camera. Oh, here's my little one. Now, if your plates are still relatively flat, you can just position the die on. But if you feel like they're not flat or you're going to move them, then I usually adhere them down with a little bit of post-it note tape. Let's see how we go. Of course, because I'm live, this is when they'll jump up and move around. They won't do it when I'm at home alone. Oh, the other thing to be aware of is that these dies actually do have a right way and a wrong way. When you first look at them, you think that you could just plonk them on and you'll be right, but they do have a right way to go, so just keep that in mind. Okay, and I usually throw all these little offcuts into I've got a tub at the foot of my table, and I just chuck them in because, you know, sometimes you just need just a little square for a heart or a bit of sentiment or a practice run or whatever. If they get too small, then they go in the bin. And I've got a recycle bag now, because now Woolies has the paper bags as well as the plastic. I go for the paper ones, and I put one in at the foot of my table, and I use that. Okay, so now we've got that done. See how quickly it's coming together? So we've got the panel, our stamped background. You could play around if you prefer. Ooh, I prefer it that way. So put it that way. Right, the next in the sample, it has a smoky slate panel with white on top, basic white on top. Now I've pre-cut mine, so you don't have to wait for me to do that. I cut this at 9.6 by 6.6, and then I cut this one at 9 by 6. so I've got a little border. To make it a bit more blingy, you could actually add a silver foil. I think that would look really nice, especially since for the sentiment we're going to add a silver embossed sentiment. So we're gonna, sometimes I attach things as I go and then I think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I might want to move it around, but I think we're safe with this one. Oh, I always check that I've got it around the right way. I can't tell you the number of times. Well, it's probably only been a couple because I've now learned to check before I stick it down. These colours are beautiful. When I was just looking at them, Melissa, I thought it might have been Pool Party and Coastal Cabana and Pacific Point, which I've got to tell you, they actually do look really good together as well. But I thought since I was casing it, I'd stick with the colours used. Now, you could pop this up or you could have it flat. It's up to you. I think we might pop it up, so we'll do that in a minute. And the same with these. You could pop these up or you could have them stuck down. And you know what? I think this time, I've made this card once before and I stuck them straight onto the white panel here, but I think this time we might actually pop them up. So we need some Stampin' Dimensionals. The mini ones would be good. And did you know that before we started crafting today, there they are. I was going to say I had them sitting on my table ready to go in case I wanted them, and then I couldn't find them. That's because I've got too much on my desk, I think. I tend to go a bit overboard with Stampin' Dimensionals. But I kind of, sometimes I don't mind if they sort of kind of bend down over it, but sometimes I want them to stay, you know, where I've popped them. So, this is probably the most time consuming part of it. Well, for me, anyway, I feel like I'm all thumbs. So, I would start with the one that I'm going to put into the center. That way, I know, I think it happens to, oopsie, that's the other thing I do a lot of. I get it all lined up and then I drop it. I think I'll put it that way. So, you can use your grid mat if you've got one to line it up. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, sometimes I should, and I haven't. That one there. And I feel like I'm going to end up with these little backings everywhere. That's about the worst thing about these things, is the little backings. I found them in all sorts of places. And put that one out there. You could have made this white panel a bit smaller, but I thought I quite liked the extra bit of white around it. It's really, like everything in card making, it's just to your taste. Even if you're casing something, like I'm casing this fairly closely, but even then, you know, my measurements are different. I could use a different sentiment, I could use different colours. I think I messed my spacing up. That's alright. Now at this point, I thought, see these little, they get everywhere. They get everywhere. Let's try and get at least some of them out of the way. I sometimes try and put them, you know, straight into the bin. And I probably should have done that time. I'll put it on a little tray or something like that. Okay, so that's looking super cute. So depending on how much dimension, as I said, you could still pop that up or you could sit that flat, but we need sentiment. So the sentiment we're going to use is also, as I say, from the Handsomely Suited, and it's the You're the Best. It's the same one as from the sample. So grab a bit of scrap paper. Now, if you've still got your embossing buddy, don't ever get rid of it. It will at least help you with not having stray bits of embossing powder. I still get it everywhere, but it would be worse if I didn't have that. So if you've got it, don't get rid of it. You'll need your VERSAMARK, your stamp, and I like to have my embossing powder ready, so I'm using the silver one. So let's, oh, and don't worry, look, your VERSAMARK will get grubby over time. It will still stamp clear, and you just have to keep re-inking it. If you're worried, of course you can replace it, but I've had this forever and I just keep that's not too bad. I also keep a little paintbrush on hand in case I need to get rid of any stray bits of embossing powder, but not too bad today. I also strongly recommend getting rid of the embossing powder as soon as possible so you don't knock it. Now it's going to get a little bit loud, so I'm going to let the heat tool warm up. It gets very hot, so don't point it at you or anybody else. It's not a hairdryer. When it's hot enough, beautiful. Make sure it's all melted. Sorry, that was really loud. But doesn't that look really pretty? I think we all talk about embossing as being the gateway. Now here's where, if you're clever, you could just run that through, cut that up with scissors or use your paper trimmer. I've been cheating a lot lately, and I've been sometimes when they're that tiny I just can't cut straight, so I've been using the messages dies, and just to get them cut straight, even if I don't want to have like those edges or something like that, I just find the die that fits, that I'm happy with, like that one. I probably will still chop these edges off, but I don't have to worry about being straight, and that's half my battle. So I usually just tightly put that on. Now I have to use my big machine for this one because otherwise it doesn't fit through the other one. So I'm just off camera doing some die cutting. When I've done that, I just take off my thing. I put that into my scraps bin so that I can use it for another time. I keep my post-it note so that I can use that. And now if I end up with anything cut like another star, I just pop that into my pouch with my die so that I might be able to use it another time. Now I realise I haven't cut that perfectly straight because I'm live, that's what happens, but it'll do. If we waited for everything to be perfect, we would never craft, and we would never give it to anybody, and I think that would be really sad. Okay, I think that looks really cute, so we'll just run now a little bit of adhesive. If you're a liquid adhesive user, that's what you would probably use now. Yeah, that's really pretty. Now the big decision, do we pop it up? I think we do. So those Stampin' Dimension also I tossed away before. once again you'll see that I go a bit crazy with the number of Stampin' dimensionals that I use. Although not too many, it's not as bad on a panel this size. I also like the height of these. Sometimes I've used in the past foam adhesive that's quite high, and it feels like my card's like 6 inches off the panel's 6 inches off the card, and I don't like that, but these are quite a nice height. There we go. One go, straight into the bin, hopefully. Okay, once again, I check before you stick it down, and oh, and that the panels are in the right way. Oh, I did miss one. I'll be finding them everywhere. Now, even if I line it up, I do tend to still get them everywhere, wonky and what have you. Beautiful, that'll do. Now, what I decided to do is add a little bit of Wink of Stella. Now mine's been a bit goopy, so just be careful when applying yours, because you don't want it to goop everywhere, and you don't want it to sort of smudge the ink that they're still not quite. And I could have done this before I stuck it down, but I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it or not. Just adds a little bit of extra bling, but as I say, you don't want to add too much because you don't want it to help you, you don't want ink to bleed. Okay, so the outside's all done. Do you guys do the inside? I tend to do just a very basic inside. So for this one, I get a white panel and I have an offcut of Pool Party, and I'm going to go back to create the border that I used. I'm going to create a border using the same pattern before. So get your Pool Party ink again, and that'll probably be enough. So I'm just going to cut this down a little bit and then stick it on, and then I'm going to play around with how big I want this to be. Maybe not put that too far away, might need it. So attach to your white panel. Now this is the size of a full-size sheet of a full-size card front. So I pop that down, and then I can start to cut it down to size. So I tend to cut off, I tend to cut it down to about 9 centimeters wide. And then probably take like that, maybe another 5 mil. I just wing this part. You can cut it to whatever size you like. Once that's done, you can put it in. Just adds a little bit more interest. You could put it either way. I'm going to, I think I'll put at the bottom. And it's simple, but it just adds a little bit. There's plenty of space for people to write, but it still ties in a little bit of what's on the front to the inside. So there you go, that's our card. That's cased from the Celebration catalogue on page 12, you can see it. with some other cute examples. Now don't forget, this could be yours for free with a qualifying order of $90. You can see here. It's got some other great shapes. I think they're really cute. I've seen some really cool idea. Use this and this to create Christmas baubles. Very cute. And if you're wondering how to get to $90, quite easy. If you want to make that card exactly, the suit and tie and the handsomely suited together, that comes to $93. $37 for this, $56 for this. So, and then you can make super cute cards like this. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and if I can help, please let me know. Thank you. Bye.